What is
Hello.
that?
I had to bring a little friend to today's session. So this is my little tomty from Sweden when I lived in Sweden
Oh,
about 5 years ago. And I also have my Yule goat, also from Sweden. And the reason is because I thought we'd talk a bit about Krampus. Now, Krampus is the alternative Christmas movie. It is a horror movie, and it's a full-on horror movie. It's proper, all of your worst nightmares
yeah, I
associated with
can.
Christmas and toys and various things like that. It's brilliant and horrifying.
I can't do horrors. I just cannot watch horrors. A friend
Very,
of mine, my best mate, many years ago, described Saw to me down
oh,
the phone. I
yeah,
had nightmares that night. I
yeah.
hadn't even seen it.
Well, I think the last one that I saw and kind of like at the cinema because I can't do cinema horrors anymore at all. But the last one I saw was Jeepers Creepers, so
Yeah.
that was quite a long time ago. So yeah, I've reverted to only watching horror movies at home when I can literally hide behind the sofa. But I wanted to bring it up because it kind of what I found fascinating about Krampus is because it kind of links in with the fact that I've lived abroad and that we had in Sweden, it's a very different Christmas. They have Christmas on the 24th. Their idea of Christmas dinner on the 25th is a Mexican or a Chinese or a Thai or something
Yeah.
completely different.
Mm,
And it just reminds me that, everybody's Christmas is different. And for some people, Christmas is literally a horror show.
mm.
And it's not something that they want to do, and it's not something um, that they want to engage in at all. And what I found really fascinating is that there are now, instead of Santa runs, there are Krampus runs. And there is this kind of like alternative Christmas um, in place now, not just in Germany and Bavaria and that, Eastern Europe and the area where Krampus first popped up. Um, but also, just a lot of people are kind of picking up on just, it's not the jolly man in the with the Coca-Cola advert. It is somebody that, Christmas is for the naughty and for the nice.
Mm.
And I think Krampus is the alter ego of Saint Nick, Santa Claus. And I quite like that about that.
Mm.
But it was interesting. Another reason why it kind of resonated for me is because there's so much pressure on our children about the naughty and nice.
Mm.
So, for example, when Harrison writes his letter, he talks about what he's done that's been nice this year to Father Christmas. And
Mm.
what was really interesting is he struggled to identify what he'd done that was nice this year. And even worse, I had to have a real sit down and think about, oh my gosh, what has he done? That's kind of like out of the ordinary or what's
Mm.
different to just average nice. Um, and it made me realize that we probably, as a family, but perhaps in general, have to think about being nice every day and keeping a record of
Mm.
being nice.
Yeah.
And when I say nice, I actually mean kind and
Kindness.
thoughtful.
Yeah.
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 I don't mean just be nice for the sake of it, just so that I can put it in the jar so that we can talk about it with Santa in 360 odd days later. But
Yeah.
actually, being mindful of being kind.
Yeah.
And it was that I thought it was really important to highlight Krampus for this one. So I think certainly my action for next year is about not just a mindfulness journey, but being mindful of being kind
Mm.
365 days of the year.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice thing for children as well. It's something that my husband and I, being teachers or former teachers, we are quite conscious, quite a lot of saying every day, "Oh, that was very good. Well done. That was really kind of you to say that." And we're now hearing them say it to each other, our two boys saying each other, "Oh, that was really kind, thank you." And so we give ourselves a little smile, so feeling quite smug that we're great parents. And then joke about, "Oh, well, it's all down to me." But yeah, the children learn from the voices they hear. That inner voice that they grow up with comes from their parents and the people that bring them up. And if those voices aren't kind, they're going to have those unkind voices in their head constantly when they're grown ups as an inner critic. But if you are kind to them and say nice things to them and point out their strengths and point out when they're being good, they will grow up knowing their strengths, knowing they are a good person. And I think
I
that's
think
really important.
I think it absolutely is important. I think it's as your everyday parenting, and you will do that automatically potentially. But sometimes it's about not just how they dealt with their kindness or being kind, it's how they reacted to that point when they weren't.
Mm,
And I think,
yeah,
again, that's what's really important, is being able to go, okay, so today hasn't been a great day, or this week hasn't been a great week. What can we do? What is it? What's happening? Let's talk about it.
yeah,
And I think as parents, it's not always just reinforcing the good, but it's also challenging when the behavior that potentially isn't ideal, or identifying why that behavior isn't ideal, what's
yeah.
happened, where's the frustration, where's the emotional resilience.
I think that's the key to emotional regulation, isn't it?
Mm,
Because if you just say to a kid that's crying, "Stop crying, get over it, come on, pull yourself together," they're not going
mm,
to learn that actually they won't value their own emotions. There's
mm,
nothing wrong with emotions, it's how you deal with them. You still need to let them out. And
mm,
if you bottle them up, then they're going to come out in negative ways. So we need to enable young people to realize it's okay to cry. But now what are you going to do?
mm,
Now what? It's okay. Rather than stop crying.
mm,
And then they just learn, well, my feelings aren't valid. I'm wrong. And
mm.
that's not right.
But also, you want to encourage authentic behavior and
Mm,
authentic emotions and authentic them being able to articulate it, being, it's, sometimes being kind or saying kind things, or being nice or saying nice things, how authentic is it? And I
mm.
think that's also key,
Yeah.
is that, it's interesting. We've talked a lot about naughty and nice, and I don't particularly like the words naughty and nice, even
Mm,
though that's what's bandied out around Christmas all
mm,
this time. So we often talk about, okay, so what have you done today that was kind, or what have you done today
mm,
that was really thoughtful? And did you do anything today that perhaps wasn't your best behavior, or wasn't your best moment, or did anything happen? And he's been out having those opportunities to talk about it. But again, it's really important that we just don't talk about it at Christmas, when we're
yeah.
using it as a way to, which in some places they do, and don't get me wrong, I've been one of them, where like, well, you won't get your Christmas presents because Santa won't bring it because dot, 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 dot. Um,
Yeah.
and it's, me as an adult reminding myself, well, just because he hasn't demonstrated the behavior that I want to see, or that I'm hoping he will
Mm.
demonstrate, it's about having the conversation and not necessarily
The punishment,
the
the
punishment. Yeah. Or even
yeah,
the
the
threat of
threat.
punishment.
It's the
Yeah.
threat. Quite often it's the threat. Yeah.
Yeah.
the threat of punishment.
But it reminds me of my childhood. That's exactly the things that we were threatened with as kids.
Yeah, you repeat the patterns from previously, don't you? I think it's a natural thing to do, but we have to break the cycle. And it's being, like you say, mindful of, am I saying that, or is my mum saying that? And do I want to repeat what my mum said? So it's just, yeah.
So yeah, the Krampus, the alternative Christmas, but actually still worth a look, especially if you want to be terrified out of your life about a Jack in the Box.
That's definitely one not going to be on my list. We'll see you for the next day of Christmas. Bye.